Wikipedia says it currently has over 7 million English articles, while Wikipedia says it has fewer than 900,000.
Chick-fil-A is bringing back campfire vibes to a certain Texas location. The fast food chain is testing out s'mores frosted coffee and a s'mores milkshake. If you want to try it out, you might have to take a little bit of a road trip because the menu test is currently being held in Pflugerville, which is going to be available until November 10th. By the way, if it is a hit, it would be released nationwide during Chick-fil-A's 2026 summer menu.
CBS News, Texas.
Today marks 29 days of a government shutdown. It is now creeping toward the record held by the previous longest shutdown after yet another failed vote in the Senate on Tuesday. The record is 35 days, so we would beat that 1 week from today. And this morning, a legal fight is brewing over whether the Trump administration can tap into funds to release SNAP food benefits. More than 24 states are suing the Trump administration right now for its decision to cut off SNAP benefits, formerly known as food stamps, this weekend. The Department of Agriculture said food assistance for 40 million Americans will go away on Saturday if the government does not reopen. Democratic lawmakers say the federal government has the money to continue to provide food assistance, but is opting not to. Republicans are pushing back.
Money is there. The hungry people, the hungry children, the hungry veterans, the hungry elderly could be fed. But Trump's using them as hostages.
Why wouldn't you just open it up and have everybody get their benefits now?
Well, meanwhile, a federal judge has indefinitely barred the Trump administration from firing government employees due to the shutdown. This stands as a lawsuit challenging the effort makes its way through the courts. Well, the North Texas Food Bank is preparing for an increased need as the shutdown continues. They're holding a mobile food bank later today. And for those in need, you can find the food bank at Dallas College's Richland campus from 10 a.m. this morning until 12 p.m. noon. And you can find more information at the North Texas Food Bank website.
Early voting is underway across the state for the November 4th election. And if you live in one of these 9 school districts that we're about to show you, one of the items that you'll see on the ballot is something called a VATER. It's also known as a voter-approved tax rate election. It might be listed as a prop on your ballot. So what is it, and why are districts asking for more money after the passage of HB 2 over the summer? Well, Learning Curve's Lacey Beasley is here to explain.
A vader is complicated and is different from a bond. A vader is a tax rate election and it contributes to the school district's general fund. It can be used on various day-to-day items like raises, salaries, and student programs like career training classes. A bond is also approved by voters, but unlike vaders, this money helps districts pay off debt, fund school renovations, or building new facilities. Now let's look at how public schools are funded. Think of funding like filling up a glass of water. The water in the glass represents the amount of money the Texas legislature allocates for each student. The water is poured from two pitchers. One pitcher is from local property taxes. The other is from state funds, like sales taxes, business taxes, and lottery proceeds. But the size of the school district's glass is almost entirely determined by the state legislature. And the amount of state money contributed to the school district's budget is contingent on revenue from local property taxes. So if the district collects more local property taxes, it receives less state funding. If a district collects more than their entire budget with local property taxes, the state will recapture the additional money and put it into another pitcher set aside to be used for other state costs. So when property taxes go up, the money isn't always reinvested into schools. Now, over the summer, the state legislature passed HB 2, infusing $8.5 billion into public schools. But some school districts say that still isn't enough because half of that went to teacher pay raises.
We have a 2-year budget here in Texas, so that was really a little over $4.2 billion per year going into our school funding system when they hadn't really adjusted school funding formulas since the 2019 legislative session.
Now, this is Bob Popinski. He's Dean of Policy at Raise Your Hand.
23rd, we conducted a joint operation targeting a business in Arlington that we believe was running an organized sex trafficking ring. Dubbed as Operation Safe Stage, has resulted in arrest of 4 people so far, including 2 directly involved in the operation of the ring. And it should be noted that the investigation is still ongoing, and additional charges and arrests are pending. We recovered physical and digital evidence that will be key to the prosecution of these individuals. We also found drug paraphernalia, and we seized nearly $13,000 in cash. Most importantly, we were able to connect multiple women with community resources that can help them escape this industry and put them on a path to a better life. More than 900 resource hours have been dedicated to this investigation, and I hope the community is as proud of these efforts as I am. I now want to bring Sergeant Maslamovich to the podium so he can talk about the operation.
Good morning. Thank you, Chief. My name is Tarrant Maslamovich. My first name is spelled T-A-R-I-K. Last name is spelled M-U-S-L-I-M-O-V-I-C. I'm the sergeant over the Human Exploitation and Trafficking Unit, or known as HEAT for short. The primary mission of HEAT is to disrupt and dismantle human trafficking in our city. In August, we received information about possible sex trafficking occurring and being run out of Chicas Locas, which is an adult entertainment business in the city of Arlington, located at 2711 Majesty Drive. Specifically, we were told that employees at Chicas Locas were performing illegal sex acts on customers in exchange for money, and those proceeds then were distributed amongst managers at the business. Additionally, we also received information that narcotic sales were taking place at the club. We began working with our partners, TABC, to follow up on these investigations and gather additional intelligence. With assistance from undercover detectives and agents, we were able to go and gather the necessary evidence to obtain a search warrant and multiple arrest warrants at the location. As we learned more about the organized enterprise, we knew we did not want to leave any stones unturned. We reached out to multiple Arlington specialized units to assist in this operation, amongst with other partnering agencies. On the Arlington Police Department side, we had assistance from our SWAT team, our Community Action Team, our Covert Investigations Unit, our HEAT Unit, DWI Unit, K-9 Unit, Digital Forensics Unit, and we had multiple Spanish-speaking officers assisting execute this warrant for us. We also received support from the Tarrant County Human Trafficking Task Force and TABC. Our city fire marshal's office and our health department were also hands on deck to help us document any violations related to code enforcement. And finally, Rescue Hill and Rescue Her were on scene to assist any victims and share information about available resources. We took 2 Chicas Locas managers into custody for warrants for aggravated promotion of prostitution. They were 25-year-old Oziel Ramos and 40-year-old Ariel Tapia. We also instructed officers to take a look for any additional criminal offenses being committed at the club, and all patrons that evening were ran for outstanding warrants. We ended up making 2 additional arrests. For 50-year-old Alejandro Hernandez was arrested for unlawful carrying of a weapon and multiple drug charges. 28-year-old Oscar Escobar had several outstanding misdemeanor warrants. I believe Operation Safe Stage was a success. And as you heard Chief mention, the investigation remains ongoing. Moving forward, we will be working with the City of Arlington to explore possible civil enforcement and take civil enforcement against Chicas Locas. I want to echo, this is something we could not have done alone. And with that, I would like to introduce Commander Kevin Turner with the Tarrant County Human Trafficking Task Force to provide their involvement in this operation. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Kevin Turner. That is K-E-V-I-N-T-U-R-N-E-R. I serve as a commander with the Tarrant County Sheriff's Office. I also serve honorably as the task force coordinator for the Tarrant County Human Trafficking Task Force. What you heard today from Sergeant Muslomovic is an example of a strong collaborative effort to address human trafficking within our community. And it is that strong collaborative effort is the foundation of the Tarrant County Human Trafficking Task Force. We have multiple organizations that are partnering together and through our collective strength are addressing this heinous crime. Rooted in a victim-centered, trauma-informed approach, we enhance our effectiveness of identifying and recovering victims of all forms of human trafficking, investigating and prosecuting traffickers, as well as providing those services to victims for their stabilization and restorative care. You know, we are honored to serve alongside the partners that are represented here today, as well as all of the partners on the task force. And as it has been mentioned, this is a community issue. This is happening every day within our community. And it's only together that we can address this heinous crime. Because together, we can shine a light on the shadows of human trafficking. And together, we can be a force for change, hope, and healing. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Lieutenant Wes Boyer, W-E-S-B-O-Y-E-R. And I have the distinct honor of leading the Special Investigations Unit of the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission for Region 2. It's a privilege to be here today, and I'm excited to share our vital mission and some of the remarkable work we are accomplishing. As a state sole regulator of the alcohol beverage industry, the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission has jurisdiction over every licensed alcohol manufacturer, distributor, and retailer located within the Lone Star State. To that end, the agency Special Investigations Unit regularly conducts long-term undercover investigations into suspected organized crime at TABC licensed businesses, which are sometimes used as legitimate fronts for illegal activities such as money laundering, narcotics, and human trafficking. At TABC, we are empowered to act decisively. We conduct undercover investigations in collaboration with federal, state, and local agencies to expose and dismantle these organized criminal networks. We bring those businesses into compliance, or if necessary, remove their licenses to operate in Texas altogether. TABC agents regularly conduct long-term undercover investigations into suspected human trafficking, both independently and as part of larger trafficking-focused task force. Human trafficking is a grim reality that lurks far too close to home. It's estimated 300,000 victims are affected in Texas alone. We know that traffickers will exploit any opportunity to further their operations, including legitimate enterprises like bars and liquor stores. But we cannot succeed alone. Community involvement is paramount. I urge each and every one of y'all to be vigilant. Your awareness and engagement are powerful tools in this fight. We are committed to this mission not only in terms of enforcement, but also in providing support to those victims who have suffered at the hands of the traffickers. We are grateful for the many nonprofit organizations, civic groups, and our own victim services that are dedicated to aiding survivors and raising awareness within our communities. This battle is not easy, but I assure you we will not back down. Together, we have the power to create a safer Texas. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Amanda Pettit, AMANDA-PETTIT, and I am the founder and executive director of Rescue Hill. We are a North Texas nonprofit that walks with survivors of sex trafficking as they stabilize and rebuild their lives. We show up alongside law enforcement during these kinds of operations to make sure that survivors have what they need in these critical first hours. At Rescue Hill, we believe that what happens after an operation is just as important as what happens during an operation. We are committed to helping survivors stabilize, navigate their next steps, and begin the long, personal work of healing. Our partnerships with agencies like Arlington Heat Unit and the Tarrant County Sheriff's Office allows us to respond in real time and stay connected through every stage of a survivor's journey. These relationships help us build better systems, close dangerous gaps, and keep people from falling through them. I want to thank Sergeant Mlazemovic and his team for the excellent work that they do in and for our community, as well as our nonprofit partner, Rescue Her, that shows up on all these operations with us. Safety during recovery operations is the starting line. Stability takes time, and real lasting hope is something that we build together one step at a time.
Together, we're sending a strong message that we don't tolerate human trafficking here in Tarrant County, and we'll use every resource available to go after those who commit this heinous crime. I want to again thank our partner agency for their collaboration, and I want to close with this. Our community members play a vital role in this too, in solving these crimes. This all started because someone came forward with information. If you're being trafficked, or if you suspect someone that is being trafficked, please let us know. We want to help. With that, I'll open up for questions.
Oh, okay. I had a quick question for TABC. You mentioned the undercover operations that you guys do. Did you guys do that in this case? And I'm wondering, have you taken any action on this establishment's license?
Yes, we conducted UC ops before and that night, and there's pending administrative violations going.
How does that work? What does that mean? Do you, I don't know, file something against? Is it like a process of getting a license revoked? Can you talk a little bit about what that looks like? So
after violations been observed, they get noticed, and then there's a penalty chart. Depending on what the penalty range, it ranges from about $300 a day up to probably, well, it can go for 30, 60 days, or it could be termination of their license.
So what was the penalty in this case?
It hasn't been determined yet. It's still ongoing.
Okay, so but that's possible.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay.
question for either Tarrant or Kevin. Can you talk just a little bit about the victims here, the number of victims involved in this, their age ranges, kind of bring them to light a little bit for us?
Yes, ma'am. So all victims are adults, ranging anywhere from 21 to late 30s, late 20s, from all different backgrounds. And that is very common that we see in human trafficking investigations. It's a very diverse group of victimization that traffickers go after.
Can you talk about the tactics that these managers use to force their employees to perform these sexual acts?
I think, as we kind of demonstrated this morning, this is a very well organized criminal enterprise. Not going into very specifics on what their mechanisms they use to control the women, but they're effective at doing that. And these partnering agencies up here, we're able to cover every angle to ensure that resources are available.
What is the legal status, immigration status of both the managers and the victims?
This was strictly a criminal investigation. Immigration enforcement or ICE had nothing to do with this.
You talked about some potential civil enforcement. Would that be an effort to potentially close this place down if you go through the proper protocols and procedures and investigation?
Yes, as mentioned, it's still ongoing. We have several partnering city entities that are working on looking to revoke licenses. That is something that we're going to certainly look into, explore those options, and enforce.
And I had a question for the organization. I know sometimes these situations are complicated and victims may not always feel like victims. I just wonder, how many people are you guys working with? Were you able to break through? Were you able to provide help? Can you talk about like what you've done specifically as it relates to these victims?
Each operation that we do with law enforcement is very different. This one was very different than what we normally work on and what we do. We had a larger number of women to meet with. And a lot of times the women are not going to make what we would consider an outcry in that moment. Now, we did have some of those, but what we see oftentimes is we leave our information. We're real creative about the ways that we do that, and we try to build a relationship as quick as we can in the time that we are with them. And oftentimes we'll have them call days, weeks, months, sometimes even years later. And so that's important that they know that when they call, we're going to answer, we're going to be there. That's why we have hotlines. That's why we have all of that. So, yeah. Does that help answer your question?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
I guess how many, can you give a number to like how many people we're talking about, how many victims?
In this particular one, I think that you could probably answer how many were in.
We had upwards of late teens, so less than 20 entertainers were inside the club. I will say that everybody inside the club that was an employee, that was an entertainer, was interviewed both by law enforcement and also by service providers, offering up those resources and allowing them, give them the full information that they need to have.
And, obviously this is an ongoing investigation and I know there's so many layers, but if this business is still operating, I guess what can be done to stop that earlier than maybe perhaps, some of these investigations take a long time. I just wonder, is there anything in the immediate future to kind of stop what's happening there?
As we touched on, these investigations are complex. I wish we could speed it up, but we can't. We have to give it the appropriate respect to be thorough in these investigations, and that's what these detectives deserve, and so does this establishment. We need to follow our process with every case the way we do it, and so I can say this: we're going to continue to investigate. We're going to continue identify suspects, and we're going to take corrective actions against that, and that's not going to stop. Unfortunately, I don't have a time frame. It is just the best I can say is it's ongoing.
Human trafficking has been a big topic of discussion in relation to the World Cup coming next year. Is there any expectation that more of these investigations are going to be taking place leading up to that? And do you expect any increased difficulty in investigating cases like this as the World Cup nears?
I think major events are always on our radar. We're no strangers to that here at the City of Arlington. World Cup certainly being on the top of our priority list. I will tell you this, we have robust planning already started around the World Cup to ensure it's safe for our community, ensure we have the resources to tackle on big operations like that. There will be engagements like this and in different capacities as well. So we're ready to ensure a safe entertainment space for those visiting the city.
Are you able to take this investigation and apply anything that you may have learned here to preparations for that event?
Absolutely. I think operations like this one, like Operation Safe Stage, is a great example where we can learn something new every single time. That's true for me and my partners, so we can always develop something on the next step and be more successful.
Anything else?
Chief, do you want to speak on that point too? Just again, this is, you've got a lot of moving parts here ahead of the World Cup. Just, what you want to let folks know who are coming to visit here, the city leading up to the World Cup, and about addressing this human trafficking head-on.
So that's a great question. So obviously, FIFA is coming here. One of their main humanitarian priorities is human trafficking and making sure that the host cities have a plan in place. And obviously we do have one. And it's about consistently developing and consistently learning our operations so that when we get closer to FIFA, we're going to be able to do what we do very well. And I think that this is the first step of learning. But I can say this, here in Arlington, we've actually stood up probably one of the first human trafficking units in the country. And we have been working with IECP on the toolbox for human trafficking. So we are ahead of the game, and I think that this right here just shows how dedicated we are to saving our victims and making sure that we can get them the help that they need and so they can change their life.
Just a quick question on the business itself. Do you know if you guys have had past interactions, frequent calls there, or any other investigations?
So Chicas Locas is no stranger to Arlington Police Department, right? We've actually have responded there for drug complaints, DWIs, and public intoxication, burglaries. But this is the first time on this scale that we've actually been at the location.
Thank you all.
And I'll be sending you guys